On this episode of We're No Damn Experts, Maddie and I talk about the science park, Yellowstone National Park.
Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You wanna get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames, if you wanna go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to Montana's greatest damn town, Great Falls, Montana. I'm Rebecca Ingham.
And I'm Maddie Stella Hazard.
And we're
No Damn Experts. So this is episode 5.
Holy moly.
Oh, no, wait, it's 4.
It's like, I thought we were doing good. Sorry.
Episode 4 of We're No Damn Experts.
Unbelievable. We
launched recently, and I think it's being well received, and I'm excited to tell people about the other national park they can access.
You know, we have mentioned I might be a little bit of a nerd, so I'm going to geek out just a little bit here. We did just launch, and I was pretty excited when you told me this morning we had like 40 downloads of this. Now, listeners, if that's really low, don't share that. Don't burst our bubble. We're excited about it. And the reason I'm most excited about it, because my mom couldn't figure out how to get access to the podcast, so I know one of those numbers is not her. So it's like actual people I'm not related to.
That is great to hear. And at 40 is really good. Do you know if you get 141 downloads in a month, you're 50% average for podcast performance?
Which we are excited about. Again, don't burst our bubble.
Thank you for
listening. And here we are, episode 4, and we're going to talk about the science park.
Well, the first national park.
Yeah, it is. You know, no, we did the episode on Glacier National Park, and I automatically assume it's like the first because it's the closest to us, but it's not.
Well, the first national park in the U.S. is Yellowstone National Park in 1872. However, it could be the first one in the world, and there is some disputing information.
Let's just claim it's the first one.
It's the first one in the world. If anyone from Mongolia would like to contact me about your national park,
podcast at visitgreatfalls.org.
There you go. So Yellowstone National Park, Rebecca's mentioned it many times in our episodes before, how it is in Wyoming. Wyoming booths send their visitors to us, and we tell them how to get there.
Now, I'll tell on myself. I think I have previously stated on this podcast that we have 5 of the entrances to Yellowstone National Park. It is important to note that this is a valid correction, that there are only 5 entrances to Yellowstone National Park, and 3 of them are in Great Falls, in Montana. So I'm correcting myself. If you've already submitted it, if you've already submitted it, I'm correcting myself.
Okay, 3 of the 5 entrances are in Montana. And we were saying before, the parks in Wyoming, 96% of the parks in Wyoming.
So most everything you're going to see in Yellowstone National Park's in Wyoming. But Great Falls is only 3.5 hours from the north entrance, which is Gardner. There's a ton of different ways to get to Yellowstone National Park. And it's usually a trip our visitors make either after they've done Great Falls, or they'll stop in Great Falls on their way from Yellowstone to Glacier National Park. So the 2 parkers, people who will do 2 parks, usually overnight here in Great Falls and have a grand old time.
Replenish their supplies and regain sanity, because camping at Yellowstone and Glacier, you need the permits, you need a plan for it. First come, first serve. But here you can reserve a room and you'll get a shower.
The hot one, too. Not too hot. So, like with Glacier National Park, Yellowstone does require some planning. because a lot of people like to go there, and a lot of people like to go there year round. Oddly enough, this year for visitation to Yellowstone National Park was higher in some months versus the previous year. Now, we had mentioned April was a good month, but the park was closed. Yellowstone National Park this year was closed in April.
And it's usually open all year round.
It is, but COVID shut it down. Yeah, COVID happened and people were like, what do we do? Are we allowing people in the park? How do we handle this? And they're like, we need a breather. And so the park was shut down. But as it came back online, we saw guests return to Yellowstone National Park in September. September alone this year, 837,499 visitors in 1 month.
What?
That same month in 2019, this will blow your mind.
I'm ready.
693,118 visitors. So in September 2020 was a 21% increase in visitors in that month alone, year over year.
So like before we said, our parks are being loved. They are there.
Yeah.
People are like, we can't do some other events, but we're going to finally explore these public lands. Don't take them for granted.
No joke. And really, there's Yellowstone's a little bit bigger, I would say, and a little bit more accessible than Glacier National Park is. But it still has some good visitation. Was it 3 million plus visitors to Glacier in the previous year?
2016, we broke record, or they broke record.
Yeah.
I'm claiming Yellowstone, okay? If I'm going to do a podcast about it, we broke record with over 4 million visitors. That's a park record.
Yeah, and so you're going to get just a few more visitors at Yellowstone National Park. But the big thing is it has a little more access in the winter than does Glacier, which would account for that increase in visitation.
So with the entrances, only one of them is open year-round, and that one's located in Montana. It's the northern entrance at Gardner.
Yeah, and that road, so if you've not been, you can get into Yellowstone National Park by going through the Beartooth Scenic Highway and coming in on the east entrance of the park. And that would go through Cook City. That entrance at Gardner into Cook City is the only way to get to Cook City in the winter because Beartooth isn't open in the wintertime. So
because of all the snow.
Huge amount of snow, which makes it a huge snowmobile destination. West Yellowstone as well. But Cook City, only way to get there in the winter is through Yellowstone National Park.
I think they get like about 150 inches of snow a year in Yellowstone.
My gosh.
Like 150.
I think Great Falls at this point is trying to rival that. We're coming for you, Yellowstone National Park.
We've had 3 snowstorms this year. But that just means that winter is here, and it's 32 days until ski season opens.
Couldn't be happier. Should be great powder this winter.
Yeah. Yes. And then another thing about closures, which we're going to touch a little bit about the wildlife later, but there are certain closures in the park because of bear management. We have to close portions of Yellowstone, so make sure you plan before you go because they need bears to be able to be bears and eat the elk and the bison. So they limit activity. You can't make any noise. Only 4 people per group. Hopefully one of them has bear spray and one of them is a slow runner. So this is a park, again, that has wildlife.
Tons and tons of wildlife. And like we've mentioned in other podcasts, it's extremely important that you be safe.
Yes.
Because nature is something you really do not want to mess around with.
Well, it has kind of 2 different forms of nature that you need to be careful with. You have the wildlife, you have the bison that are the oldest free-range bison herd in North America are still in Yellowstone National Park.
Wow.
There's about 5,500 of them. And for some reason, people of all ages think they can just go up to the bison and take their picture.
We've even had instances where people will take their babies. These are all things you should not do.
No, and then there are bears, as we mentioned.
Don't feed the bears. Keep your distance.
However, did you know that Yellowstone used to have a bear lunch encounter? And the rangers set up bleachers. So where there was overfilling dumpsters or trash cans,
I heard of this.
Trash cans of food, the park rangers set up bleachers that people can watch the bears have lunch while you're having your own. Unfortunately,
bad idea.
Some people were hurt.
With good reason, this program was eliminated.
Yes.
From Yellowstone National Park's
It's
lineup.
no longer there. However, if you do want to look on the internet or check out our show notes, www.visitgreatfallsmontana.org/podcast, you can get all our show notes from our episodes. And here I will link the image of this bear lunch encounter that once was.
You know, I would say if they're going to charge premium pricing for that, it's a solid business model until people die. But if you sign the waiver,
Back then there wasn't a waiver. Today, when you have experiences with beasts, pretty much beasts, you do have to sign it. But it's gone. And then the other parts of the park that are nature that are dangerous are the hydrothermal features.
and that was other part of what I was going to say to be safe. Don't soak in the springs or the hot pots or the geysers. Also, don't cook your chickens in there. Don't cook your fish in there. Don't get off the trails.
So recently, this year, 3 gentlemen, they have cooking pots and they're hiking up to cook some dinner. And a park ranger here sees this. What are you guys doing? And they're all cited. 3 of them are cited with pretty hefty fines for trying to cook chickens in a famous geyser.
Don't do that.
They are banned from the park for 2 years.
With goodness gracious.
We laugh at this, but the water is about 206 degrees Fahrenheit when it shoots out of the ground. It does lose its temperature rather quickly, so when you are sprayed with it and when it's coming down, it's no longer dangerous. However, the hot springs, the mud pockets, everything else of the thermal features is hotter than a coffee. So that's why that child this year who fell in was burned.
Yeah. Now, there is one feature that's not in Yellowstone National Park where you can get access to the warm thermal water. Just before you get into Gardner, they have the boiling river, which is a really unique feature. Plays off that thermal activity in Yellowstone National Park where it's like a big hot tub and you and all your friends and strangers that you may not have met yet can jump into this river and soak in the boiling river. And it's a really unique feature.
So how warm do you think the water is there?
I'm going to go with 98 degrees.
Okay.
Maybe 102.
That's I could do that, but I can't do the 185 degrees of other.
Well, if it's going to peel my skin off, that's kind of the indication that maybe this isn't going to be a feature for me, but that doesn't happen at the boiling river.
But it does take pretty pictures. And then of the geysers there are 500 active geysers in Yellowstone, which is more than half of active geysers in the world.
Did we already mention how many square miles or square feet or acres the Yellowstone National Park is? I know we mentioned 96% of it. So
no, we forgot that factoid of the 3,472 square miles that is Yellowstone National Park.
So 500 geysers seems like a lot until you realize how big of a landmass we're talking about, but still, it is quite a few geysers to be in one location. And I'm going to go with the fact that if you didn't already know, Yellowstone is an active volcano.
A super volcano.
So that's why there's a lot of gurgling and spitting and weird stuff coming out of the ground, because there's a lot of weirdness going on underneath the Earth's surface.
So the experts that are of the Yellowstone National Park, they don't think this volcano is going to erupt anytime soon. However, if it were to erupt, the entire United States of America would be covered in ash.
So please listen to us. We're not necessarily experts on the topic, but we are more reliable than the movie 2012.
Oh.
It was a good movie, but we're more reliable.
Another little factoid about the dangerousness of it, they get so many earthquakes throughout the year. What's the stat? Is it like 1 million earthquakes, or about, I think it's 50 or 60? I don't know.
I mean, they're 50 or 60 or 1 million are relatively the same number.
Well, if you think about it, anytime there's an earthquake,
that's one too many in my book.
And I've experienced 2 earthquakes in my life. One in Illinois in 2008 and one in California in 2018. Both fairly small, but the amount that they get at Yellowstone on the Richter scale, no. Scaredy cat once again. Old Faithful used to actually be more faithful than it was. It used to be every hour on the hour until I think 1959. There was an earthquake that they had there at the Richter scale that was 7.6. So it shook things up quite a bit.
Changed it a little.
A little. So because of that, Old Faithful became a little bit less faithful. And now it's about every 60 to 90 minutes that the geyser erupt.
You know, I'm just going to say it. That's still fairly reliable considering an earthquake happened.
Yeah.
A massive earthquake happened there. But it is still a safe place to go, even though we are talking about earthquakes and volcanoes.
Bears.
Feel free to head into the park. It's fine. Clearly, 4 million plus of your closest friends go annually, and they all come out unscathed and unharmed, unless they break the rules. And so one of the things that we've talked about, the geysers and the hot pots and the weird stuff. So what are the things that you should see when you go to Yellowstone National Park?
Again, walking there is great, also known as hiking. There's over 1,000 miles of trails in Yellowstone National Park, which compared to Glacier National Park, which has a little over 700, plenty of hiking opportunities.
Plenty of hiking. There's fishing, there's boating. The big thing that I would note, it's been a while since I've been to Yellowstone National Park. We get to Glacier way more often, and we're also the poster children for not doing enough in your own backyard.
Yes, we are. Well, we're busy doing stuff here to get people to our backyard.
But Yellowstone National Park has a lot of different areas to experience. And the big thing you'll notice is because of the amount of people there, the parking lots fill up quickly. So if there's a feature like the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone, which is absolutely gorgeous, you'd park in the access parking lot and then walk to that feature. Those parking lots fill up, and so you will have to plan a little bit better to make sure that you can hit the features you want and have enough space to park your vehicle and get to those viewpoints, if you will, in the park. Yellowstone, like we said, is 3.5 hours just south of Great Falls. Great trip to make. And some people will fly into Great Falls to access Yellowstone National Park and go between the two parks. And the reason for a lot of travelers coming into Great Falls is our historic low fares.
Yes.
I'll pull some data on that. We're 5 years running as the most affordable price point for flying into Montana. And the other thing that's nice about that is our rental car costs are less as well within the state. So it's a little bit more affordable to do that. And one of the prettiest drives to Yellowstone is through Kings Hill Scenic Byway. There we go. On State Highway 89 that goes through the Little Belt Mountains. So my favorite way to go. And that'll put you in at the Gardner entrance, which I also love that entrance because of the Mammoth Hot Springs.
Oh, okay. And then when we talked about the entrance fees, are those similar to Glacier? Are they the same across because it's in the National Park Service?
They are a little bit. Glacier has a winter fee where Yellowstone does not.
Okay.
The fee year-round to enter Yellowstone is $35. And if you want to walk in, bike in, skateboard in, however you want to come in as a pedestrian style person, it is $20 per 16-year-old person. I don't know if you're 14, if you're allowed to go into the park on a bicycle. I'm not sure what that means. It just said in the notes that I read that you had to be 16 years plus. They'll charge you $20. Maybe you're free if you're under that. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe you just need to be accompanied by an adult.
Okay. And then if you're on a motorcycle, same as Glacier, $30 for a motorcycle. The pass is valid for 7 days. Which is why so many people do both parks on their trip, because you can get your pass at Yellowstone and it'll work in Glacier.
Oh, awesome. And then there's also the same free entrance days. And if you listen to our Glacier National Park episode, we had no idea why these days are free. We were just guessing, throwing darts. So January, the free date that you can enter is for Martin Luther King Day. So that's going to change each year. So dependent on when that falls, that's when you can see the park for free. Also, April 20th is the first day of National Park Week, so they let their visitors in for free then. August 25th is National Park Service anniversary, so another free day to go on in. And then September 28th, which again will change, National Public Lands Day.
Oh.
So we were wrong.
We were really long. We were super wrong on the September date.
And then lastly, November 11th, free for Veterans Day.
So this podcast won't come out in time, so plan for next year.
Okay.
November 11th.
Okay.
I was just thinking, if you got planned enough, you could show up in town for that. No.
Okay, because Veterans Day is soon.
And this isn't going to be published.
Okay, so
by
I
the
gotta
time
edit all our mistakes and make us sound a little bit more prettier. You guys saw the video. I got a lot of stuff to do. But also for Yellowstone, for visitors, if you do go there and want to know more of like the history, 10,000 years ago, people were there. So,
oh my God.
That's,
well, yeah.
12,000 for Glacier, 10,000 known for Yellowstone that they can prove, because there are 1,800 archaeological sites at Yellowstone. So chances of you finding something,
pretty good.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to take it, okay?
Please don't.
But still
especially
cool to
the
find.
baby bison. Leave those alone.
And then a little fun fact I want to add in there. We talked about Glacier National Park, how the Lewis and Clark expedition went 50 miles south of those parklands. And the Lewis and Clark expedition, though they didn't go close to Yellowstone National Park, one of their members on the expedition did a solo trip. I know, like the first round wasn't enough. John, what's his name? John Coulter. He came back in 1807 to 1808 and stumbled upon Yellowstone National Park, and it's now known as Coulter's Hell because what he described of the geysers and boiling water and just pretty much death traps because there weren't trails. He did not know.
So he's out there wandering around, stepping in hot pots and going, oh my God. And then water shoots up in front of him. So I can only imagine what that was like to walk around there not knowing it was in existence and go, oh, I'm so glad we didn't end up here the first time. We'd have turned around.
Exactly. And he's mentioning all these features in the waterfalls. There's 290 waterfalls in Yellowstone, by the way. And he goes back to describe this and no one believes him.
Well, would you?
This guy went out first time with Lewis and Clark, had some crazy stories, but not as crazy as this. So I think maybe this man wants a claim to fame and is making up stories. But then it was verified that he most likely did experience all of that.
Because you can now visit Yellowstone National Park on your own and experience it yourself safely from a walkway that's been constructed by your entrance fees. So.
But before the National Park Service took it over and did the entrance fees and had the trail, the United States Army was in control of it for 30 years.
They might have been the ones who said, hey, let's charge people to eat lunch with their bears.
Yeah, maybe, because the bear luncheon. Guys, the pictures look really cool. I'd want to see how that was done, because who said, let's set up bleachers and watch these bears?
The things that happened before today always amaze me. It's the same thought process I have when the president turns to Lewis and Clark and says, hey, I bought the Louisiana Purchase area and we'd like you to explore that. Here's some money. Here's some food. I don't know what you're going to find or how long it'll take you, but Godspeed. I would have walked away. I was like, sounds really fun and all, but I'm not that tough.
No, I am not. I need the trails. I need the directions. I need the maps. We have all of that at our office. We got the majority of this information from O Ranger.
Thank goodness for our friends at O Ranger. The Yellowstone National Park guide from them is full of valuable information.
Yes.
The other plug I will make is we have some great friends at the West Yellowstone, Montana. It's one of the entrances to Yellowstone National Park, their visitor center. I would say they are damn experts on this topic.
Well, they have to go there all the time, probably.
And they've got a lot of those 4 million visitors stopping in at their office to visit with them about what to experience. So they're great, as well as our friends in Gardner also do a really great job. So if you're in the area and you need to plan, that's great. But I would also encourage you from our perspective, when you're in Great Falls, we're going to help you plan to get there. And then you're going to prepare your trip once you're in that area a little bit better with local resources.
And they do have tour guides at Yellowstone National Park as well. So you can book different loops throughout the park to see highlighted attractions like Old Faithful. I went to Yellowstone National Park as a kid when I was 8 years old, and I remember that, and I remember the bison. I remember various other animals, but I need to go back.
Yes, and you should, but I was going to mention, I didn't know where you were headed, but
I was trying to listen.
Clearly, I should have helped out better there, but I would also like to mention some of those tours are snowmobile tours.
Oh my God, sign me up.
So it's one of the unique features that are allowed where you can do a guided snowmobile tour. And the reason I'm so into winter is because of the winter scenes that are outside our office while we're recording. But you can sign up for snowmobile tours and take a tour through Yellowstone National Park. They've got some set trails for that. And they're based out of West Yellowstone as well. Other great snowmobiling in that area, as well as here in Great Falls, the Little Belt Mountains. There's also a snow coach feature that you can book through at West Yellowstone. I'll take you in. And if I'm not mistaken, it's still an overnight stay at the Old Faithful Inn. So that huge lodge that's there, which I think would be phenomenal to experience.
Matt, I'm just so excited for winter now. I mean, probably because I've forgotten that, I have to snowplow and
shovel. One of the great waterfalls, of the many waterfalls that Maudie has told us they have, is at the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. So if you've not been to the Grand Canyon, no need. Check it off while you're in Yellowstone. It's practically the same thing.
All right, I don't know if she's being serious or not, because when I listed attractions for Yellowstone, blank. I'm gonna Google search some images and see what we can attach.
It is a beautiful location, but you will not be able to claim Grand Canyon off your list. The Old Faithful, which we've mentioned, some really great wildlife viewing, which we've talked about. Not only bison and bear, but elk and moose, sheep, coyotes, and then wolves were reintroduced into the ecosystem in 1995.
So even more fun when the bear management area closed.
Another prominent feature of the park is Grand Prismatic Spring, and that's usually with all the big, deep blue colors. We haven't mentioned it already. There's some hot pots and sulfur pots. They smell bad, so there's going to be some scents.
So before we mentioned on previous episodes about negative reviews about parks online, and I did do some research about Yelp users that reviewed Yellowstone National Park. One of them, it smells bad.
It does.
Why did I leave New York City to smell the same bad smells? It's like Central Park, but larger with bears.
It sounds heavenly to me, but yes, there is some sense there that you will be like, ooh, was that you? But it wasn't any of you. It was the sulfur pots. So know that exists. I mentioned Mammoth Hot Springs with all the mineral deposits. It's like, looks like snow year round.
Oh.
But it's not. It's just a white mineral buildup, which is absolutely beautiful in my opinion. And then Steamboat Geyser, which is in the Norris Geyser Basin, world's tallest active geyser.
Is that the one that shoots it up like 200 feet?
300 to 400 feet.
Oh my goodness.
And 100% unpredictable, which is why a lot of people do Yellowstone or Old Faithful, because 60 to 90 minutes, you're going to see that thing go off. Geyser.
Or Steamboat Geyser. It'll explode, and then you can sit there for days, and you won't know what happens.
Oh,
goodness. Okay. Yeah, because if I'm bringing it with kids and a husband, I'm going to want to know a better itinerary than just twiddling my thumbs, waiting for the bison to not charge me. I'm on the trail. Please don't cross onto the trail.
I'm just waiting for Steamboat Geyser to go off. It's the tallest when it does explode.
So that was our episode on Yellowstone National Park. Like we said before, you're going to need to plan for this trip a little bit more than your normal go at Great Falls, because we're more relaxed here. You can get a room. You can have open seating at our restaurants. But here you're going to want to plan more, pack more, and be safe. Just be sure that you know what is around you. Rebecca, anything to add about Yellowstone National Park?
There is a ton more I'd love to add, but I didn't do the research on it. So
we're no damn experts.
Visit our website, visit greatfallsmontana.org to learn more, or email us at podcast@visitgreatfalls.org. We'd be happy to send you the O Ranger Guide, where we got all of our fabulous information from, as well as a National Geographic map to kind of help you plan through the ecosystem down there. We're here to help you have a great time in Yellowstone. Or if you've already done it and you're on your way to Glacier, make us the pit stop, because you will then get to go to the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center and learn all about Coulter and his other buddies that went out and adventured through the Louisiana Purchase.
So since launching this podcast, we've gained 1 follower on Twitter. We appreciate you. If you like what you're hearing, please remember to review this podcast, subscribe, and look for our episodes on a weekly basis. We are no dim experts, and we're here to prove it.
We can't wait to share with you more information. We're going to get back into the swing of things about Great Falls stuff. Now that we've covered the big things, we're going to start digging more into the Great Falls stuff, so we don't have to do as much research.
There we go. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
We're No Damn Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town. Damn, that felt good.
On the next episode of We're No Damn Experts, Rebecca and Madi filmed their second podcast episode for YouTube while they interview Sandy at the Sip and Dip Lounge.
It is GQ's #1 bar worth flying for, and we're going to be there in person with the mermaid expert.
We're No Damn Experts was produced by Great Falls, Montana Tourism with original music by the best damn musician, Joel Corda.